Tell you what, let's just set the mood right away. Because that, folks, is what winning the Baton Rouge Regional looks like. You get to sing Go Big Red with the crowd, yell back, and then it's time to just go watch them celebrate, take pictures, all that good stuff. Welcome to Husker Heat, everybody. Back from Baton Rouge, and still just kind of freaking out that everything went down the way it did. Miley here is with me. Miley, say hi to everybody.
Hello.
How are you feeling after that last game?
Good.
God, it just explodes off her. the excitement, the thrill. Good. Well, I tell you what, when you're pressed, you really aren't supposed to jump up and down, but there was definitely some silent fist pumping going on while got the couple other guys up there were laughing at me. They understood. It was just the case of the script going perfectly. After one of the press conferences, a couple of us were standing around talking with Rhonda Revelle, and she's just going like, I don't know what's gotten into him. She said she was convinced this is a regional, and it played out that way except for Nebraska. You thought it was going to be Nebraska and LSU, and she did too. But she said, I thought this is one of those regionals that she said she thought every game would be close. And every single game was close except for all three Nebraska games. I mean, LSU 3-0 over Connecticut, a couple of one-run games. Maybe the first was a 2-run game, but two very close games with Southeastern Louisiana, SLU. But the Nebraska games were just blowout. And I think one of her quotes is, I don't know what's gotten into him this weekend. It's like, well, whatever it is, put more of it into him next weekend, because the pitching's going to get a lot tougher, and we're going to talk about that. But yeah, because the plan was, we don't want to get into our second line pitching too much. And she never said it, but was obviously playing it that way. And it wasn't going to be like the Big Ten tournament was single elimination. And when they got the big lead on Penn State, you've got a pretty tough hitting Penn State team in there. Connecticut and Southern Louisiana, not so much. So after 3 innings, I think we had 7-0 leads, like after 3 innings in the first 2 games. Got Jordy out, got Kylie McGee in the first game, got Hannah Kamenzind in there the second game. And then the third game, it was just going to be Jordy's going, and unless she starts tapering off, because she threw less than 50 pitches in the first 2, each of the first 2 games, ready to go. And doesn't it make it so much easier? You can just blow your way out of the starting line with a 7-0 lead each game. That was just perfect. And I don't even think they were hoping. They were hoping it would happen like that, but they were just trying to find ways. I think they just wanted to script it. Everybody wants to win the first 2 games, but I felt like Nebraska needed to win the first 2 games more than Connecticut, Southern Louisiana, or LSU did, because they had deeper starting options. They could throw teams in there. Like everybody on SLU, their coach reiterated that statistically he had one of the top 10 pitching staffs in the country. He had 3 of them with an ERA of about 250 or less going into the series. So he didn't mind games going deep. He knew he could throw good arms in each time, and he did that each game against us, and we throttled the crap out of him. And he was very, very, what's the word I'm looking for? Just very respectful of Nebraska, congratulatory. And he's like, pitcher like Jordy Ball. She's doing that at the plate on the mound. He goes, you can't do anything but tip your hat to her. And we'll talk about her amazing weekend too. So let's, just run down the scores. They started off, they beat UConn 10-2. They beat Southern Louisiana, who upsets LSU for the first time on Thursday, and then on Friday beat them 14-1. And that was, I think, that's the key, especially when you got Louisiana weather happening a little early, because they admitted it's early mid-May. They're not usually hitting the 90s yet. But it was I think it was about 92, 93 for a high each day.
Good.
Yeah. Saturday was the key. That was the hottest day. It sure looked, for me, just sitting around sweating, it sure felt like the hottest day. The other days, the breeze was coming like into us. We had they were nice. They put a little wind machine up there on the outside deck. They had us on. But yeah, Saturday was the day. If you had to choose the day that you didn't want to be playing a couple of games, starting off at noon and then playing into the evening, and if you lost that game, that was the day. LSU had to play them back to back since they lost the first day, and that might have been an advantage for Southeastern, is they at least had a couple hours break while LSU played, and then they play another. And I mean, it was a battle. You were watching that too, right?
Which one?
The Saturday night game between the elimination game with Southeastern and LSU.
No, I was at Thunderbolts.
You were where?
I was watching Thunderbolts.
You went to the movie. Yeah, that wasn't right.
I saw like the very end when they won.
Oh, okay. Good
Yeah.
enough. Well, that was the way that like the 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th innings went, was just score. So after I watched some of that, I was just going, I think SLU is going to win this one, because I feel like it's just going to be whoever gets to bat the last. And that's what it was. But still, there they are, playing into the night, while Nebraska's, when that game ended, I think Nebraska had just been chilling in the hotel, eating some chicken and pasta, doing whatever, recharging with their fluids and whatever. And Ron actually said, because I was asking her about, everybody just, what do you do at the hotel tonight to just get ready for tomorrow? And she even said it depends what position you play. They have different recovery processes for the different positions, but they were getting to do all that, and well, they're getting to do Netflix and chill in their hotel room while these guys are. Just shut up. And
That's not what it means.
I know exactly what it means. So they weren't doing that, but anyway. They're kicking back, just doing whatever, while these guys are just sweating their heads off, and now have to turn around and play a noon game. And and you could tell that they were kind of, I don't know if their pitchers always needed to be pulled when they were pulled, but I think that both coaches wanted everybody available, and that Hallie Burns, who started the first game against Nebraska, the SLU's first game against Nebraska on Friday. I think she threw like 3 or 4 innings in that LSU game, but they had a staff where their ace didn't face Nebraska, but she got bounced out early, started and got bounced out early in the 2 games they played. But I thought we were going to see her, because their second best starter had gotten throttled by Nebraska and throttled by LSU in that second game. And Hallie Burns, the other one, had thrown 4 innings and been beat up by Nebraska. So I figured he'd just start their ace, because at least we hadn't seen her, and lifted her after 3 batters and 2 home runs after Jordy and was it Jordy and Abe was the first? Did they both go deep in the first on that Saturday game? I think they did. Yeah, I think they did, and then that was it for her after 3 batters. I can't remember if they brought her back in or not, but by then it was 8-0, and it probably didn't matter. That SLU is a scrappy team. I got to give them credit. That is the second year in a row that they have lost that they have gone into Saturday. They've lost to a ranked team, gone into Saturday needing to beat another ranked team, or in this case, the same ranked team. The year before they lost, went to Saturday, fought back. I think they beat Clemson twice to get to the championship, and then this year they fight back, beat LSU for the second time, and this time on their home field, and get into the championship game again. So these guys feel like they're a mid-major program in a lower conference, or lower middle-ish conference, but they're proving they can compete with the big boys. Because let me give SLU a little credit. I wrote about it in one of the articles, because some people are like, well, but yeah, we won, but we didn't have to go through LSU. Did you hear any of that? Like, you didn't have to go through the top 10 team, or
No, I didn't.
didn't hear that. I heard a little of it, and to that I say, well,
It's not their fault they didn't have to go through them.
yeah, the reason they didn't have to go through them is because the team they're playing beat them twice.
Yeah.
and they had played earlier in the season and only lost to them 3-2. So it feels to me like we played the better team, at least this weekend. Yeah, so they beat them twice. We run ruled them twice in both games, 14-1, 8-0. They weren't run ruled at all this season. They played, like I said, LSU lost 3-2. Played number 7 Florida State, lost 5-0 and 5-4. Played number 1 Texas A&M, and I believe lost 3-2. So much better teams than us had a chance to run rule them. We're the only one that did it,
and Texas A&M lost.
Yeah, the Texas A&M lost to Liberty. I wasn't sure how I felt about that. I mean,
it's always funny to watch the number 1 team go down.
It's funny, but God, why Liberty? A bunch of tweakers. And they said, and we're facing a staff with 3 pitchers with ERAs under 3. This wasn't a pushover. This wasn't a pushover team. The overall their schedule, they played in a weaker conference. Their schedule and one of the greatest. But they're still number 63 in the RPI coming in there. So they're not one of those teams that's like 132, but won a conference full of teams in the 200s. And another thing was somebody had caught on social media that one of the LSU fans was just pissed that they lost to SLU twice. But he was referring to the fact, at least we're losing to our next coach, because many at LSU, their coach kind of got a raw deal this year. This wasn't supposed to be a big year for LSU. They were predicted to struggle. They had a pretty new team. Their best player, their best hitter, was that Tori Edwards, and she's a freshman.
They went 500 in conference play.
Yeah, in the far and away number 1 conference in the country, I think. Yeah, but they still went 500, but they were still top 10 team. They were number 6 in RPI, and they were supposed to struggle a little. You were thinking they'd be closer to Missouri than to a seeded team, and so they actually outperform, but then losing their regional, so everybody's furious, and they ended up winning 40-something games, which overall it's like, I get it. You get there, you want to defend the regional, but you weren't even supposed to have a regional, so. Anyway, they're starting to lean on that coach a little. They've confirmed she'll come back next year. And when they say she'll come back next year, that usually feels like, you've got 1 year to do better, and you better get to at least a super regional. That's one of those things that feel, we're having her back next year. That feels more like a threat instead of saying something like, hey, we've got her under a 3-4 year contract. No, we're bringing you back next year.
One of their pitchers entered the portal.
One of LSU's?
Mm-hmm.
Wonder which one. You didn't catch the name, did you? I saw people at Auburn. Yeah. If you grab it, let me know. But I saw some people were freaking out at Auburn because one of their pitchers left the day after, so they're going nuts. Oh, I know what they're thinking. Oh, tampering. They had it all set up. Yeah, of course, dumbasses. They had it all set up. You guys haven't gotten any transfers. The 2 days or day after they went in the portal or the day after the season was done. Here's the thing about tampering. No one cares. The NCAA doesn't care. Everyone's going to do it. Everyone tampers with coaches. And there's an easy way around tampering where you can't do anything, be it coaches or players. They all have a friend, and the other university's AD or coach or whatever has a friend. The friends talk to each other, so there's never any direct contact, and you can't prove anything. They've never levied, I think, tampering charges at coaches except in very rare circumstances, and that's usually, I guess, somebody ratting somebody out. They don't care about it. What's that?
Sydney Berger.
Oh, that's their ace. That's their best pitcher.
Yeah, she entered the portal.
Oh, wow. Huh.
I have a stat for you.
Huh. Well, yeah.
So as of 6:30 p.m. today, 1,280 softball players have entered the portal.
1,283?
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
874 since May 1st, and 527 since 18th.
I assume their portal window goes through the end of the college, beyond the end of the College World Series. So
I'm assuming, yeah.
Because that'd be kind of unfair.
Some of these girls are like losing games and then immediately entering the portal.
Yeah. Now, some people might be. What's that?
Like, no shit, you're not going to win. Some of these goals are just halfway out the door before the season's over.
Yeah. Well, some of the people might be flipping out on the numbers like 1,280. It's like sounds like way higher than football. Well, that's because there's about 119 Division I football teams and 309 Division I softball teams. So, yeah. At Nebraska, I got nothing but good things to say about the portal. We got got Jordy the year before, and this year I think we had 4 starters. We got the Kaminson twins, Ava Cusack. Who am I forgetting? There's one more. Well, Bella Bacon transferred the year before from Purdue. Was Hoffman a transfer? I believe Casey Hoffman was a transfer.
Was she?
I think so. And then she's not a freshman, I don't believe. Might be. You can look that up. Just check the roster and see if she's a freshman or not. Yeah, keep that phone handy. And then Kylie McGee was a transfer. What's that?
So don't have to tell me twice.
Well, apparently I did. You'd put it away.
Shut up.
She's
a junior.
Yep, so she's a transfer.
And she's also from Elkhorn.
Also from what?
Elkhorn.
That's the thing. I think all but of our transfers, I think just about all but McGee and from the past 2 years, all but McGee and Cusack are like from Omaha or the Omaha area or Nebraska.
Isn't DiNardo from California?
Oh, that's the other one I was trying to think of. Okay, so yeah. So and DiNardo. But like the Kaminsons are from Gretna, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Jordy's from Apilia and Bella's from around here. Trying to think. And then where'd you say Hoffman was from?
Elkhorn.
So there you go. All right, let's see. So Nebraska now currently is 42-13. They're still changing RPIs, but at this point they're not really changing very much since everybody's really pretty good. Let's see. Let's talk about. Let's go ahead and talk about who was hot this weekend. And the top of the order. Oh my God! The top of the order combined to go 15 for 23 hitting, and then you throw in their walks and their on base percentage. It was about 765. They went 26 for 34, 26 for 34, just getting on base by base hit or walk. Hannah Kaminson, she only had 1 walk, but she got hit twice in one game. I don't believe they count the hit by pitches. One of them looked pretty like it hurt her. Usually it's like get hit in the arm or the leg, grit your teeth, run on down like you weren't hurt. She looked like she caught one up in the ribs that kind of had her doubling over, and I saw Coach Diane Miller come out of the dugout and talk to her a little. And I think that conversation, probably with less cursing, went, the fuck, I'm leaving this game. Because she asks her if she's okay, and then she just starts walking back to the base. And no, she's not yelling. They're not yelling at each other or anything. But that's pretty much how this is the championship game. Unless I can't breathe, I'm not leaving. So yeah, it'll be fine. Let's see. Tell you what, let's check the comments real quick before we get too deep into the stats. I see a few up there. We got Highlander Gun here tonight, wants to say hi to us. Woohoo! Let's see. Is it really Beetle B says it's a beautiful afternoon in Lincoln? Boy, did I love getting the last flight was not a disaster. It's just a pain in the ass. We had a connection. We went from Baton Rouge to Charlotte, and then from Charlotte to Omaha. The first thing that happens is, we got maintenance. Okay. Minimum 15 minutes. Great. And then before that happens, we see that the departure time isn't changing, but there's another hour and 20 minutes tacked onto the arrival time. We're like, what the hell? Well, big stormy night in Omaha last night.
Yep.
So instead of flying straight from Charlotte to Omaha, we had to fly to Dallas to go underneath it and then come straight north. So that a lot of extra time. And then the flight ended up being delayed by an hour because of all the maintenance stuff. And then when they finally decided, I don't know how they didn't know they weren't going to have to do this longer than just about 20 minutes before we're supposed to board, because that storm had been brewing all day and was clearly an issue. But yeah, whatever. Because then they had to come out and put more gas in for the longer route, and that took a while. And anyway, so we left an hour late, and instead of getting in at 10:40, we got in at about 12:40 when all was said and done.
At least you don't have to go to work the next day.
What's that?
At least you don't have to go to work the next day.
No, I did not. Yeah, it was fine. I watched Captain America: Brave New World. I bought a John Grisham book and read it. He wrote a sequel to The Firm that looks like it's just made for a Tom Cruise action movie down the road. So anyhow, who else we got here? Let's see. Yeah, Highlander said we had tornadoes here today. Beetleby, and where did we get tornadoes? And Beetleby's saying they got almost 3 inches of rain. And Highlanders in northern Alabama. It always cracks me up. It shouldn't, but the tornadoes in the South. There was a comedian did a thing going like, well, every time you see, here's all the trailers and the houses, all these shanty houses and trailers and RVs, RV park people, and it all just gets destroyed. And and obviously that stuff, none of that stuff's ever surviving the tornado. And then they find one of the people there, and they go like, "So, my God, this tornado! What are you gonna do? We gonna rebuild." So anyway, so all the talk here, those crazy winds and tornadoes, and did we have crazy winds last night?
Yeah, like
probably before I got here.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you that flight. Even going around, even though you're going around storms, not through or over them, there was still a lot of. I had like the loud kind of drunky 21-year-olds in the row behind me, but I was really not liking the storm because they'd finally like passed out, and then they wanted to chatter again when the storms hit them, and they were trying not to be scared, but they were terrified. And I was just reading my book. I didn't feel anything that felt like, oh no, we're going down. But anyway, yeah, fun night.
You never know.
What's that?
Airplanes are just falling out of the sky these days.
Yeah, that's one thing I was thinking of too. But and the thing was, every flight, all three others, like the 2 flights there, the flight to Charlotte, every one of those went off on it without a hitch, on time, no problems. A little like helpful hint for the Charlotte airport. Maybe you should get your runways in the same county as your terminal. I mean, it's like, hey, we're landing early. Then all of a sudden we're taking like a 15, 20-minute drive to the terminal, and all these turns and twists. What's that?
Denver's the same way.
Yeah, Denver's just weird. It's just kind of out there in the middle of nowhere. I had to pick somebody up there once a few years ago, but yeah. Other than that last leg, wasn't too bad. So anyway, we're talking about the top of the order. Hit the crap out of the ball, because you had like the threes. Oh, did you say something?
Sorry,
I'm tired. Yeah. All right, get Connor in there. Perform CPR, the Heimlich, and because the show goes on. So Ava Cusack, big game, or big weekend. 5-9, a double, 2 home runs, 8 RBIs and 3 runs, 7 for 11. You throw her walks in there, and now she was funny, and because the press conference after the second game, she smoked this line drive between shortstop and third, except the third baseman for the Lions just made a diving leap from the get-go, snagged it, stole a hit. Well, she hits her home run the next time up, and it is a line drive going out, and we're just wondering, is it going over or not? Because it was just one of those low screamers. And here goes the center fielder up, and I'm like, oh my God, Ava's going to go on a killing spree if this one gets robbed too. And she couldn't quite haul that one in. And I asked her at the press conference after, I went, so you just had a line drive stolen the inning before, and were you watching that center fielder? Because we thought she had a pretty good chance to get that. And she went, and she just kind of laughs and goes, yeah, when I was rounding first, pretty much. She was like, oh God, don't take this one. So that was pretty funny. Sam Bland, monster weekend. what more do you expect from her? It's like, if it's not obvious, this is one of my favorite players on the Huskers, if not my favorite, just because of she's just the hustle, the energy, the energy. She just brings the energy all the time. And I love that she got that second spot and held it down, because she's one that can just start running around too and mess with the other team, and she did. So same thing. Both she and Ava went 5 for 9, 7-11 overall. And we were even talking about how she needed to be a little more patient, take a few more walks like the rest of the team. Really looked like this weekend she was taking a lot more, and she walked twice, so rewarded for it, because I get the feeling that's not her normal speed, is be patient and wait for a walk. It's let's go. And she had a double, a home run, knocked in 6 runs, scored 4 runs. And then you got Jordy. Jordy took a little shit from the UCLA fans in West Lafayette, because on that last game she went 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts against Caitlin Berry. And you don't know if it's just that some people have that who's the quarterback, like Baker Mayfield kind of has that fuck you kind of attitude when he thinks things aren't going his way or people are talking shit. So Jordy, for her at-bats, she went 5 for 5 with 4 home runs, 10 RBIs, scored 8 runs. Yeah, I have that right. And she walked 7 times. So she went 12 for 12. She did not make an out all weekend. That doesn't happen in slow pitch softball. Where people go 12 for 12 or 5 for 5 or whatever, maybe 5 for 5 for a game, but 17 at-bats and getting on every single time. And I kind of asked Sammy and turn your phone off. Sammy and Jordy, after that last game, I had a chance to say, okay, you guys have been in the 1-2 spot, and I said in my comments early on that, writing about it, I was saying, and they're making life miserable for the Big Ten at the top of the order. And Rhonda started laughing when I said that. And I just said, do you guys feed off each other? Has it become more fun since it's you guys in the 1-2? And then Jordy just says, well, she says it's great. I don't feel like I've got to do it all up there. I can take these walks because I know there's no escaping, when Sammy comes up next, is now you've got another dangerous hitter. And then, then Sammy kind of looked and goes, well, what I was going to say was it's really easy to hit number 2, et cetera, et cetera. So you can tell they do kind of feed off each other in that role. And dang. And now that Ava Cusack now for the past several weeks has found her spot at number 3 in the order and has just been a terror. Early on, she was like crushing the crappy teams and struggling against better pitching. Now she's just been beating it all up. and the bottom of the order, and there was one particular, maybe it was that last game, the bottom of the order didn't really hit much. I think they were like 2 for 12 or something like that. And it didn't matter because the top of the order was just beating, like the top of the order knocked in all 8 runs in Saturday's game. So it's like, that's a team. And one thing you'll hear from these guys nonstop, whenever you try to ask about anything individually that's going on with them, the answer you're going to get is, well, all I do is just try to remember, just do what I can to help the team. Don't worry about the slump. Just do what you can do. I asked Abby Squire a week ago about what the journey was like going from, remember, tearing the cover off the ball, hitting like 420 going into conference, and then boop, but then coming back now in the previous few weeks and right back in left field and hitting pretty well. This weekend she was 4 for 11, so 363, had a double, scored 3 runs, so she's back to contributing. And yeah, and she said, I'd never really thought about it. I mean, I knew I wasn't hitting. Of course, we're working on it. But all I'm really worrying about is when I get in there, what can I do to help the team? And that's not just like an anecdotal with her. That is just an example of what everybody's, even Jordy Bally, you ask her any question about the home runs and all that, and she's just like, in any particular instance, what do I need to do to help the team? She's like, I'll lay down a bunt. I'll take a walk. And so and it seems to be genuine. It's like, it's not like they're going, oh wait, I'm supposed to say this now. It seems pretty genuine. They're like, anytime you try to make it individual about them, like, well, this is what was best for the team at the time, and glad it helped the team. And you don't worry about your playing time and where you are in the order and all that, if that's your thought. And that's not an easy thing to instill in people. And I think it keeps them on an even keel, and why you never really saw a losing streak. They won every conference home series this year. They didn't lose a single series. Let's see. Nobody was really not hot. Laura Kammensen's been struggling a little at the plate, but then she had the home run. I think she hit off the top of the scoreboard when Maryland was in town. So I feel like she can bounce out at any time, and she still scored a couple of runs. So she's still found her way on base a few times. Jordy pitching, it didn't look that great at first. You didn't see anything kind of amazing in those 2 3-inning performances, but then you added it all up, and she was 2-0 through 12 innings, only gave up 1 earned run, struck out 16, walked 4, only gave up 2 hits in those 12 innings. Her ERA was 0.58, and then her whip, her walks and hits to innings pitched was 0.5. Like I've always said, you're doing really good if you're at 1.0. She was at 0.5 and just not letting anybody on. But Kylie did all right. She threw 3 innings, gave up 2 runs, had a rough first inning, but then dug out of it, pitched fine the last 2. It was good to see Hannah come out. She threw 2. She'd been struggling a little. She threw 2 perfect innings. She came out and she only struck out 1, but faced 6 batters, got them all out, and just bang, bang, bang. When asked about that, she just said she was trying to bang or trying to attack the strike zone. Just didn't want to walk anybody. Just wanted to get it over, and she got it over, mixed her speeds, and looked really good. So where does that leave us at about 35-minute mark? Perfect. Gives us just enough time to talk about Tennessee. Miley, please sing the Tennessee fight song "Rocky Top" for us.
I'm not. No, I don't even know it.
No, these are the things you're supposed to do on your own to show your enthusiasm
For Tennessee?
Yeah, well, for the show.
No.
That would have been fun. Let's see.
You learned it. You have more free time than me.
What's that?
You have more free time than me. You learn it.
I actually did look up the lyrics, and that's just one drunken hillbilly song.
It's Tennessee.
Rocky Top, Tennessee. Good old Rocky Top. There's no place to hide you're trying to hide your face. You can just duck out of the camera view or put your hand over it. Woo! Let's see. A couple comments. Beetle B says, flying to Lincoln scares the shirt off me. Does Lincoln have kind of a short runway? I've only had to fly in and out of Lincoln once, and that was for one of the USA Hockey conferences when United or US Air, whichever the shitty one is, canceled a flight because there was going to be a storm the next morning. And so so the only one I could find to get me in anytime near when the conferences started was like out of Lincoln at 10 in the morning. So yeah, I kind of remember it kind of looked small coming in. Hey, look, Pit Snipe's in the house, and why is Pit Snipe here? And why shouldn't we? Let's see. Sing more, Andy. Here, Pitt says Tennessee has fun fans. We ain't gotta hate. I'm not. I'll have fun. I make fun of everybody. LSU had great fans. LSU fans were a lot of fun. The people that were working the event were just a blast. Nothing bad to say about LSU. I tell you what though, there was this one really bad announcer on ESPN Plus, and I remember she wanted Southeastern Louisiana to win so bad to where, yeah, they were talking 2 things to death, Jordy Ball. They were talking Jordy Ball to death, but this one gal would not just stop with the Southeastern. And it's fine. Go ahead. I get that the night before they were kind of turning into the underdog darlings of the tournament. That's fine. They deserved it. But here's the thing. I think the wine, she was making all these ridiculous comments as if, Southeastern, it's one of those things like, Southeastern's got Nebraska right where they want them, and we're up like 5-0. The one that killed me was Jordy just strikes out the side in the 4th inning, and she's throwing a perfect ball game at that point, 12 up, 12 down, no hits, no walks, no nothing. And after that last batter, she threw a few pitches to her, and it's like, yeah, it's out. It's like, but right here you can see Southeastern Louisiana is really making her work. Are they? Are they really? And that's kind of what I threw a tweet out there. Started turning the sound down. Well, somebody had told me the night before that it's like, hey, it's okay to be good fans, but she was, I don't know, it's just something that like a lunatic would say, where she was like, well, I really think LSU has embraced this team from Southeastern Louisiana, and I bet a bunch of them show up tomorrow to support them. And it's like, I bet a bunch of them don't, and they didn't. It's like, what the hell? It's like, if you heard their fans that you clearly could yelling at umps in that 6th and 7th innings, yeah, it didn't sound like, we've really embraced Southern. It was like, you beat the shit out of them now, and I got a few things for you too, you dirty bastard. And, and some of that really came in clear on TV, but yeah, it's like they didn't come out and support him. Come on, man. Okay, here, Pitt Snipe says that Lincoln is like landing in a soup bowl. That's a quote from multiple pilots. Okay, that backs up what Beetlebee said. Yeah, LSU. And here is what I got. What that is a giant baked potato stuffed with cheese and etouffee sauce, and with about 8 or 10 fried shrimp tossed on top. And then I got a side of the green beans. I sat there eating that son of a bitch for about 45 minutes. It didn't feel a rush at all because I had to kill time before I checked in and then got off to the game. But yeah, that was a good place, and everything they had barbecue, they had stuff like this, seafood stuff like this, Cajun stuff. If you go to LSU, go to Kuyon's. You will not be disappointed. So I was always there in the stadium before the game, so I didn't really get a chance to do the eating before the game. I'm blanking. Tailgate.
Oh.
I didn't get a chance to tailgate. So, Eddie Hose. Let's see. What else we got? Comments. Wisco. Is that Wisconsin? Huh. Interesting. That wouldn't surprise me, though. That crowd's oiled up. We have a question for Miley from Pitt.
Yeah.
Nobody?
No one yet.
No one yet? Eh.
The week is early.
The week is early. I guess he just meant like from last Wednesday on over the weekend.
No, I can't think of anyone.
And yes, you do. You do want that. That was some pretty good eating. The press food was amazing. The first day they had like McAllister's sandwiches. Not tiny little ones either, like the real deals. They brought in some like this blackened chicken pasta that was really good, and then they had like a shrimp pasta with like creamy Cajun sauce, and yeah, I amazingly came back a couple pounds lighter, and I don't know, probably from sweating it all off, but
Did
it wasn't.
You shoot it all out?
No. I mean, of course I did, but beyond that, I didn't pack on any pounds that stayed. So yeah, good food though. Good food, good treatment. Let's talk about Tennessee and get out of here. Anyway, let's see. I'll throw some stats up here in a sec. Team-wise, they don't hit as well as we do. We hit it, but remember they play in a better conference. We just have to be honest about it. We hit 356 to their 306. 106 homers. They've got 67. That's not powerless. That's more than most teams we played this year. And they can run. They stole 71 bases. Not the 195 that Southeastern Louisiana stole this year, but this is why the 71 doesn't worry me. Is Southeastern didn't really steal on Ava's got a cannon, and they didn't even really try to run that much on LSU. So I wonder if LSU's catcher had an arm on her too. But anyway, 71 steals. We slugged 648. They slugged 522. Still good. Our on base was 438. Theirs is 413. Their on base is over 100 points higher than their batting average. So you'll be seeing some very patient hitters. They may not chase Jordy's changeups, with her 2-strike changeups in the dirt and rise balls that other people just can't lay off of. They might be a little more patient than that. And then, okay, got all that. Now pitching, our ERA's pretty much been steady, 253. Jordy's season long, like 150 carries most of that. And then we have a 1.22 whip, very solid, 379 strikeouts to 143 walks. The Tennessee staff, on the other hand, carries a 1.73 team ERA, a sub-1 whip at 975, and 450 strikeouts to 124 walks. This is a very good staff. Let me throw up their staff numbers first here, or did I get those in there? Maybe I didn't get those in there. No, I didn't. No biggie. I got them here. What's that? No, their star pitcher is Karlyn Pickens, a name that is just Tennessee as hell.
It's very subtle.
Yeah, and just a pretty little blonde named Karlyn who blows you the fuck away. She is 22-8 with a 0.9 ERA. To give that some perspective, that's 60 points lower than Jordy's ERA. That always sounds awesome at 150. She has thrown 186 in the third innings. They both thrown 186 in the third innings. That's kind of crazy. Both her and Jordy. She has struck out 252 batters to Jordy's 270, but only walked 54 to Jordy's 72. She's given up 24 earned runs this year. Jordy's given up 40. She's given up 112 hits in her 186 innings. Jordy's only given up 99, but then she kind of makes it up by walking fewer. And batters hit 168 against her and 151 against Jordy. And you better believe that both teams are going to pitch those two as much as they can. So this is like a Muhammad Ali Joe Frazier matchup of pitchers. These are two of the best in the country, and we get to see them go head to head. That should be fun. Hopefully it's fun. I hope it's fun, and that Jordy mows down Tennessee and we beat the brakes off Karlyn Pickens. So we'll see what happens. Now, we did play in the very first game of the season, and we beat Tennessee 7-1. But I think there were a few Tennessee errors in there too. They were kicking it around a little bit. And speaking of defense, I think our Nebraska defense is the unsung attribute of this team that no one was really talking about. And I got a chance to make. I didn't know that I was going to be doing it. That was going to be answered this way. But I asked Rhonda Revelle. I said, "Hey, early in the year, the defense was shaky," and she starts just nodding and grinning ear to ear. And I said, and that has turned completely around. It is now one of the strengths of the team. And think of the leadoff batter on Saturday against SLU. As you know, they're going to be slapping and running and just trying to do what they can to get on base. And they drop a bunt down, and Sam Bland comes screaming in from third, picks it up, and it's one of those where the throw has to be hard and absolutely perfect or she's going to be safe. And she just throws a bullet down there out where Bella Bacon can grab it. Boom, first out. What else you got? I thought that was, that was just a hell of a counterpunch right there. And I just wonder if that didn't get them a little uneasy in that game. But anyway, I said, what have you done to turn it around? And she goes, well, first, thanks for pointing that out and asking me, because I'm in charge of the defense. and so I follow up. I go, so what do you do though? Do you drill like crazy? Do you work on the mental side of it? And she's like, well, you got to work. It's like, yeah, we practice it over and over, but you don't want to make that to where it gets in their head if they still can't do it right in practice. But she goes, it was just a case. They worked hard at it. And she said, and I knew they were better than that. That was the key, because you don't usually see bad defense suddenly change. If somebody's a bad fielder, then they're just a bad fielder. And Sam Bland had never played third base before this year. She was a shortstop in high school, took over left field last year when all the injuries started hitting. Like, well, Abby was out for the year. And I didn't know she'd never played third until I met her parents in Seattle, and they told me that, and I was blown away. I was like, I just assumed she played third because she looks like a natural at the position. It's like she's just scooping everything up. She's got the arm for it. She's just grabbing everything from the slappy hitters and throwing them out. So, yeah, I was just like, this is nuts. And, I didn't know what Ava Cusack had done. I think Lauren Cammon's over at second and booted a couple. And no, just Rhonda said, I knew they were better than this, so we just had to get their heads back in the right place. It wasn't a case of these are bad fielders and I got to make them better. So good for them, because that really is. I can't remember the last time they really made an error that I remembered it. But the tournament season, first couple of weeks of the Big Ten, seemed like there were always like 1 to 3 errors sitting in that column. So anyway. Tennessee 43-14. Now they were 15-9 and fourth in the 13 team SEC. I think they're 15 teams now. I could be wrong. Anyway,
we don't need to spend 5 minutes figuring it out.
What's that?
I said we don't need to spend 5 minutes figuring it out.
I know, I'm not. That's why I said moving on. They finished number 6 in the country, number 5 in the RPI. Their strength of schedule was the 4th toughest in the country out of 319 teams or 309 teams, whatever it is. They won 16 of their 43 wins were against top 25 teams, and 7 of those wins were against regional hosts. They didn't lose. They didn't have a single bad loss to a quad 3 or worse team. But here's an interesting thing I dug up. They were 0-3 against the Big Ten this year. They lost 7-1 to us, 1-0 to Oregon, and 4-3 to UCLA. So they played the top 3 Big Ten teams and went 0-3. So do we own them or are we owed one? Or owned. Let's see. So we'll see. I just thought that was interesting. I don't think 3 games is a huge palette for a study there. But anyway, I gave you Karlyn Pickens numbers versus Jordy balls. Few of the hitters, outfielder Taylor Pinnell's their best hitters, hit 399, 502 on base percentage, 15 homers, 62 RBIs, and stole 9 bases. Scored 51 runs. Also look out for Kenzie Felder. She hit 354, on base 473. Like I said, Tennessee's a very patient team, and they are more than happy to take the walks you give them. I wouldn't be surprised to see Taylor Pinnell leading off kind of in the money ball way that Rhonda will lead her best hitter off. She doesn't care if they hit 3 homers or 25. She wants her best hitter hitting first, so they're hitting as often as possible. Keep an eye out also for Sophia Nugent, who hit 16 homers, and I hope I'm pronouncing this right, Savia Morgan, who stole 25 bases. So that's your Tennessee threats. And even it's one of those that even if their hitting doesn't seem as awesome as ours, remember they were facing a much better slate of pitchers. But on the other hand, they're going to be seeing the most they can from a pitcher who could pitch for and dominate anybody in the SEC as well. So there's that to think of. So, Miley.
No.
Before we go, prediction time. We gonna beat Tennessee?
Hopefully.
Thank you for that gutsy prediction. I hope so. Thank you. This one's tough. It's gonna depend on our bats. I think
it'll probably be 3 games.
I would think we'd get 3 games, and then it comes down to how much did we pitch Jordy in the first. They didn't announce the days of the games at first with the to be determined stuff, but it looks like it's all going to be a Sunday, like probably an early Sunday game, because I think because we play at 7:00 our time on
6
on Friday, or 6. I'm sorry, 7 Eastern, 6 our time, 4 on Saturday. But that's 5 there, and so that game maybe doesn't get over until 7:30 or 8. I don't think they're going to turn around and have them play when obviously people have the freedom to play Sunday. So I guess that will be like a noon Sunday game, 11 our time. if I have to guess what happened in that game 3. It's going to depend on our hitting. We've got to be able to get to some of their second pitching. Not that any of that's bad either. They don't have one pitcher on that staff that you wouldn't feel confident putting in. But we've got to be able to hit the ball and maybe see that.
Well, yeah, that's how you win games. You hit the ball.
Thanks, Coach. But the point I was going to make before you zinged me, you little shit, jackass, was that it's not going to be as easy to go get 7-0 leads in 3 innings this time. I would hope we could do it once or twice, but we'll see. I guess we got 7 on Pickens. Just needed some help for, a little soccer play from the rest of the team and whatever. But let's go. There's no way in hell I can pick against us, right?
But you're going to.
No, I'm not. I'm going to say we win it in 3. I'm going to be there. I'm very good luck. I've been there for a Big Ten championship and now a regional championship. I think I'm 2 for 4. That's not a bad percentage for championships. So let's see if I can make it 3 for 5.
And his ego is bigger.
That's not. Is it ego if you just think you have magic following you around?
Yes.
Then it's ego, baby. Go Big Red. We're going to win 2 out of 3. We're going to the Women's College World Series. And holy shit, I can't believe I might have to what would that make me gone like 4 times in 5 weekends? Or no, that'd be 5 times because conference, regional, super regional. Yeah, and then Seattle, that'd be gone 5 weekends out of 6. And then I'm not going anywhere for a while.
Great. I'm ready for that. That's where I'm going.
Yep. No, we're done. We're out of here. No, I was done. I was just trying to think of more neat stats because I know how much you love math.
Ugh.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. I'm fired up. I'll be driving to Knoxville Thursday. I'll be down there. Looking forward to it because I think Tennessee fans can be fun too. Although I was thinking of wearing some of my Georgia stuff and talking about Gunner Stockton a little, just to get myself in the middle of SEC shit. But we'll play it by ear. Anyway, that's about it. Wait, last few comments we'll buzz through. Connor says Huskers by 90. He's like, what were those guys? Those Bears fans? No, Bears. Bears 73, Cowboys 7. Wait, what if Ditka's a giant on the sideline? Oh, then it's 138-0 and they forfeit. Go Bears. So, Bears by 100. Let's see what else we got. Oh, Tennessee ducking us in football. They're going to get our softball wrath. I think Tennessee would be the first to tell you they thought we were the ones ducking because I think we're the ones who sort of backed out there. But, yeah, whatever. Let's see. Oh, God. Boys break your shit, daughters break your heart. Cowboys do anyway. Hey, I got a joke for Connor. What do Cowboys fans do after Cowboys win the Super Bowl?
Nothing, because
turn off the PlayStation. Let's see. It's probably gone now, but Pitt wanted to know if that was a bat over your right shoulder.
This?
No, that's a projector. Maybe a bat flew in the picture. Anyway.
I don't have bats. At least I hope not.
Anyway, you're going to sleep. You just got to catch the bat first. And
yeah, great.
With that, we're done. So, everybody, we out of here. Connor says more rings than your team. Who's my team?
The Lakers.
Yeah, but I was talking about the Cowboys. What's that have to do with the... I don't think they have more rings than the Lakers either, historically. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. I don't even have an NFL team. But maybe I think that was just, what would you call that? It's just a normal reaction.
Yeah.
Unconscious reaction. More rings than your team. Yep, and you had Dion. All right. Pitt says, we'll just all keep doing what you're doing. Hey, we'll do it either for one more week or 2. Just depends how far they go. So with that, we'll get Miley off to bed. Everybody have a great week. Be watching. I think just about all the games are going to be on ESPN2. It's the way it looked. There was like something went out there that, hey, ABC had us and then kicked us off. but that turned out, I think, to be a screw up at ABC where they punched that in there by mistake. Supposedly they've had UFL playoff games in there since the beginning of that season, but all the other games are on ESPN too, so I didn't know why they'd put one on ABC in the middle of the afternoon. It's better to have one at 6 p.m. on Friday. We literally have the primetime ESPN2 game for those 2 nights, so we did well. Guys, good night. Miley.
GBR.
Say it out loud. All the words, man. We got a super regional
Big
coming
Red.
up. Damn right. No abbreviations. Go Big Damn Red. See y'all later. And another Go Big Red just for the hell of it.
Oh my God. Go Big Red.
Go Big Red. Okay, 3. With that, good night, everybody.